A new shocking statistic shows that Josh Anderson is actively hurting his line mates when he plays with them, and by a lot. What are some solutions here? Do we change his line? Could he maybe get traded this year? We'll be diving into that. Plus, Coach Marty praising Slav for an unexpected thing. That and much more on this episode of Habs Digest. Let's jump straight into it, Jesse. But the first thing I want to talk about is the Habs are playing a bit better than we thought, and we got an interesting stat to back this up. I saw this on the hockey subreddit today, and it's NHL Luck, PDO tracker. So basically what this is, it's save percentage plus shooting percentage, right? Makes sense. You shoot the puck, percentage of goals that you get over shots is your shooting percentage, and percentage of goals you give up per amount of shots is your save percentage. So the Habs, as you can see, are right at about 1. And they're above a team like New Jersey. They're above teams like Colorado, Minnesota, right? And Edmonton and Calgary, Carolina down there as well. Even above the Toronto Maple Leafs. So, Jesse, this is an okay indicator of luck in general over the course of a season, because if you're shooting at a much higher percentage than your opponents are, you're going to be way above, like you saw Vancouver up there, way high right there, scoring a ton of goals. It makes sense. But I think for Montreal, it's like, for at least in this one statistic, there's a lot of other luck-based statistics that you can pick and choose, but for this, regardless, this very simply calculated stat, to me, it shows that Montreal is maybe playing better than a lot of people might be giving them credit for their good performances, despite not like getting crazy good luck or anything.
That's so true. Like, when you're dominating the face-off circle, when you have an improved power play, when you got a young defensive core that's so much better, the Martin St. Louis effect, Cole Caufield being Cole Caufield, like none of those things are about luck whatsoever. These are about things that we're doing that very much, contribute to winning hockey games, So I feel like there's a correlation between that. Like it's not a fluke at all. And it's still surprising, right? Because, you kind of go into the season kind of thinking that we're in a rebuild kind of completely, which, I think is definitely true. But what we need to realize is there's so much parity in the league. And there's going to be surprises every year. You can just bank on that. Like a team that you don't think is going to do as well, it's going to do much better than expected. And then other teams that you think just going to be gangbusters, they're not going to have a great year. It's like, even just looked like the beginning of last year, everybody's saying like the Calgary Flames, like this is a Stanley Cup contender. Now fast forward 1 year and they're saying now they're headed towards a rebuild, right? So like things can change really quickly. There's so many games going to overtime. Like it's a very competitive league. That means that the margin of win or loss, isn't that huge, right? So really nice to see Montreal just kind of, learning and doing what they need to do, and definitely the results are showing.
Yeah, for sure. And like Montreal's had some great games against the likes of Winnipeg, Columbus, like whatever, decent teams, but they push the defending Stanley Cup champs, a team that's on number 1 in most power rankings, the Vegas Golden Knights, to the brink, and just barely came out of there with the loss. Like Montreal, yeah, while they lost to Arizona and they had a pretty big sized loss to St. Louis, they're playing really well against some really good teams. And that's always a good sign when you're able to play up to your competition, right? Yes, there's still a lot of growing pains to be had, but Montreal is not getting crazy luck in these games or anything. They are playing very solid hockey, and that's pretty evident to anyone who's watching. So it's a very, very good sign that so far Montreal is playing solid. They look solid. That's great signs for things to come. Let's jump now into a bit of Slafkovsky stuff. Whoop, no, wrong card. My bad. Coach Marty praises Slav's defense. We'll get into the worrying thing after. It's a bit worrying. But first off, Coach Marty. And look, Slafkovsky, of course, scores his first goal of the season against the St. Louis Blues. A little dangle in the power play. Great give and go with Alex Newhook along the boards. And Coach Marty he had some good stuff to say about the offense, but the main thing is he said, quote, the one thing he's done a lot this year, at least for me, is the tremendous improvement he's made away from the puck defensively. He still has moments, he's a 19-year-old, but I feel comfortable because he's aware defensively. And Jesse, look, we say, like, we're like, yeah, look, Slav is fairly aware defensively. Is that his biggest strength? No, absolutely not. And it wasn't when he was drafted. That's never really been his big thing that you look at. But Coach Marty is noticing it, and we're noticing it too sometimes. Like Slav, yeah, he's making better plays this year, especially. He's a little more active with his stick. He's working the boards better. But one of the big things you often see from a lot of the people who are fans of other teams who don't look at Montreal, they see Slav stats, they just assume, oh, well, he's a bad defender because that wasn't in his draft profile. Now, he's improving every single night, and if he can continue on this path, if Coach Marty can keep helping him out with his defense, like, just imagine a world where Slav is like a very solid two-way player.
Absolutely. Like positioning is so important in sports. And this is basically so key for Slav, both, defensively and offensively. If he's just going to be in the right spots, the rest of the game just comes, the good team play, the goals. He has the skill. It's all about just kind of maneuvering, really getting into those big spots. And as you said, like, I'm not surprised to see these good defensive numbers. We've shown he's doing better in board battles, kind of knowing when to kind of come in, help a teammate. He's a really big guy, right? So when you're a big guy out on the ice, because you're covering, taking up so much space, you can really help your team a lot defensively. So, and maybe that's another reason of why they picked him as well versus maybe some smaller guys in Wright and Guhle. It's like, we got those smaller guys in score. Maybe this is a guy that can score, but also really plug up some plays defensively. A big guy, right? Really noticeable out there. But what I really liked, hearing about Martin St. Louis about, kind of this first game was that he wasn't worried about him setting him on this first line. Being a 19-year-old rookie, Martin St. Louis, who we know to be a straight shooter, wasn't worried about him playing against tougher competition. And then after seeing the game, he was like, yeah, no, he did great. Like, I wasn't worried about him and against tougher lineups. And he played great. And that's so big for him because if he can be good defensively against these really, good opposition on these first lines, that means, because we know he's good offensively. I feel like that's going to come. If he can do that defensively, then nothing's stopping him from being able to play in this type of position, which, with the best type of line mates, which is really going to bring out the best in his type of play.
Yeah, for sure. And just going to flash this up. You're going to see this in a second as well. But of all the top 9 forwards, we're not counting the fourth line, Bezetta, Evans, Armia, because they were playing obviously against the lower competition in general. Of the top 9 forwards, Slav had the best defensive rating last night versus St. Louis, except for Alex Newhook. So just another little note there. And he was the second most impactful player of the game, according to Game Score. Playing against top competition doesn't seem to worry him, Jesse, and it's really, really awesome. I'm very excited to see what more is to come from a confident, without the monkey on his back, Juraj Slafkovsky. Let's jump into Josh Anderson now, though, and we're kind of going to keep talking about Slav, and you're going to see that graph I just showed again, but this is getting worrying. This is becoming a serious problem. Let's just show this graphic showed on LDS. This is the expected goals for. Expected goals for percentage is basically when you're on the ice, how likely is your team to score versus the other team to score. So 50% is average. Each team, while you're on the ice, is equally as likely to have a goal. Newhook without Anderson, 47%, with 27. Slafkovsky from 53 to 33. Suzuki from 52 to 29. Caufield 54 to 37. Monahan 42 to 28. Look, Josh Anderson, I'm sure he's going to bounce back, and he's a great player. We've had lots of praises about Josh Anderson, but this is a clear issue. This is something we've seen so far this year. Anderson plays are dying on a stick a bit more than they used to. Maybe it's some rust, right? We don't know what's going on, but Jesse, it really raises a tough point because I'll flash this up again. He was, by these impact metrics, the Habs' worst player yesterday, arguably without, or maybe Justin Barron, but still, like, I don't know. It's tough because he's putting in poor performance after poor performance, and you got to think he knows this too, right? And it's tough, and we don't want to crap on Josh Anderson, but at this point, like, if he is actively hurting every other player he's playing with by like that large of a margin, what do you even do?
Well, you got to feel like he's frustrated by this too, because he's one of the players, along with Nick Suzuki, that gets the most rush chances on this team. Like, he gets his opportunities right in front of the net. We know he has the capability. He has the wheels to get there. It's just kind of finishing it off once he's there. I'm wondering, like, is Marty St. Louis, like, maybe he would be the perfect guy to go to just to get some breakaway moves. We know Marty St. Louis being so quick in his time in the NHL, he knew how to finish them. So maybe he's got the perfect coach to help Remy, because if he, right? Exactly. Like, if he could just finish those opportunities. But, like, he scored 21 goals last year. I do think it's a good player. I like what he brings to this team. All the same, these type of big power forwards, like, we can't underestimate him because he would be valued still on a lot of other teams. But it's still a good question all the same this is bringing up, because it almost seems like he's negatively affecting, like, all the players on the Habs that have the potential to really affect this team the most in a positive way. Nick Suzuki, Cole Caufield, Juraj Slafkovsky, everything else. So he's not a fit on the first line. I think analytics even show that from last year. We've talked about that quite a bit, even this season in the lead up to everything. But, like, where is the right fit for him, right? That's the thing for me. I'm curious to maybe see if maybe Monahan, Anderson, and Newhook could get something going. I don't know. Feel free to let us know, like, in the comments what you think about this. But, it's just, he's definitely got to just get those shots on net. He's got a great shot, but maybe just play it a little bit safer, get on net, keep going to the front of the net there. But, like, you have to feel like from a law of averages, that the goal scoring will come at some point for Josh Anderson.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we don't play the Leafs till March, and maybe he can make up for 10 or 15 goals over 2 games in March or something against the Leafs. It would, it's only fair. But look, Monahan's been able to work magic. Him on the power play is fantastic. He's able to set up a ton of people for goals. Gallagher is playing at like the best pace he's played in years with Monahan on his line. Maybe Monahan could do the same for Anderson, but we can't have Monahan be this magical healer of these guys, right? So there's a lot of questions, like you said. But I think the final question before we end the video is, what about a trade? Look, a lot of people were talking about Josh Anderson being moved last year, even this offseason. But now after this slow start, people are getting worried, saying like, uh-oh, was the window to trade him, is that gone now? Are teams even going to want to take on that contract? It's over $5 million per year for another number of years for a guy that has like 1, maybe 2 points this year. Players are dying on a stick, and he's actively hurting his teammates. Do you think they're maybe exploring the market? Because for me, I feel like probably not. I feel like at this point, they know what Josh Anderson is. They know he's a good player. They know he's going to bounce back, but you got to think that maybe once his value starts creeping up, Kent Hughes is maybe looking to move on from him because, like you said, Jesse, he's negatively affecting the young guys.
Yeah, you always want to sell high on these type of situations. So I think Kent Hughes would be wary to kind of wait too long, but obviously we need an uptick in his production kind of before doing anything this year. But I like what he brings. I feel like he's a playoff type of player, but I really like, to be honest, Josh, I've been thinking over the last couple of days, like trying to find like where is his spot on this team, because it's not quite obvious. So, like the first line, maybe not the best fit, not the worst, but I think, Nick and Cole could be better served by another option there. The second line, that doesn't seem to be his spot right now with the Habs. Like you got to feel though, like on most teams in the NHL, like he should be a second line guy. Maybe some people would say on a real Stanley Cup contender, he's a third line guy,
Sure.
But like scoring 20 plus goals, like you got to feel like maybe he could be, for the other things that he brings, he would be a second line guy, but I don't see him right now on the Habs. It's starting to get really crowded. We got a lot of prospects coming up. Joshua Watt looking like he could fill a top 6 spot. Like you never want to be too hasty in these type of situations, but you need to see the writing on the wall kind of before it's too late as well. So this is going to be something kind of very interesting to monitor, right? Because if he's not a fit in the top 6 with us, then you got to feel like we're going to want to probably trade to kind of get somebody that's going to be a little bit more of use to us, obviously with no disrespect to Josh Anderson at all.
Yeah, of course. Love Andy. I mean, obviously, we hope he bounces back. And if you do have to move on from him, if you're Kent Hughes, you got guys waiting in the wings as well. Even if the guy you get back for him isn't going to be an impact player right away, you got guys like Kaiden, you got guys like Waugh, eventually a guy like Mesar who can come in and fill in on the wing. Even Beck, though he's more of a center. So let us know what you think about Anderson. What line should he be on? We don't know. Should he be traded? There's so many things to talk about. Let us know down below. We'd love to hear from you. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 8,500. We're like 30 subs away. So if you're still watching and you haven't hit subscribe, do it now. Help us at 8,500. We'd really appreciate it. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.